Catastrophic floods have devastated Central Texas, leading to a rising death toll and many still missing. Amidst this tragedy, some may focus on political angles, but the true story lies in the local heroism and swift actions of Texans. Breaking news today.
Hello, and welcome to That News Show, where we discuss the latest facts, fakes, and hypocrisy as reported by the legacy media. Let's roll the tape.
Let's trust the people of Texas to dictate their path forward, not Washington. Fox News reports that the death toll in Texas has climbed to 89, with 41 individuals still unaccounted for, according to officials. In the wake of this tragedy, some are quick to point fingers at Republican leadership or even President Trump. The real story here is the resilience of Texas families and the inadequacies of the bloated, outdated federal systems left by the previous Democratic administration. Instead of politicizing this heartbreak or advancing global climate agendas, our focus should be on effective measures, local responsibility, genuine preparedness, and a government that prioritizes Americans. Hold on to your hats.
They say they are praying for them constantly. Yesterday, President Donald Trump signed a major disaster declaration for this area to help those impacted by this historic flooding. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the president is committed to using all the resources that the federal government needs to help unify families, rescue all missing victims, and help folks displaced by the catastrophic flooding. And Texas Senator Ted Cruz says he spoke with the president about this situation as well. Take a listen.
The president said, Ted, anything Texas needs, the answer is yes. Whatever assets you need, whatever resources you need, yes, let us know, and we will provide everything. Within hours, we had helicopters, over a dozen helicopters in the air.
Texas officials, from the governor to local sheriffs, have coordinated air and ground rescue, saving hundreds within hours. The devastation in Central Texas starkly reminds us of nature's power and highlights the resilience and unity of the American people. The nation stands with Texas, driven by genuine solidarity in times of need, not by political grandstanding. Despite attempts by some to politicize this tragedy for a climate agenda or as a critique against Republican leadership, the facts remain. Local officials and first responders effectively managed the situation. Timely warnings were issued, and the disaster declaration was promptly signed. In Kerr County and across the Hill Country, we witness not just tragedy, but a narrative of courage and effective local leadership. The immediate mobilization of resources, including the National Guard, FEMA, and Coast Guard, demonstrates the positive outcomes when Washington listens to state needs instead of imposing top-down directives. As efforts continue amidst ongoing rain threats, the priority remains clear: unity, facts, and tangible solutions. The heroism displayed at places like Camp Mystic, where counselors and campers acted selflessly, underscores the bravery that defines American communities. Contrasting this with the previous administration's often sluggish and bureaucratic disaster response, the current proactive and result-focused leadership stands out. Families are receiving real help promptly, not just empty promises.
The petty officer also sort of deflecting any calls for him as a hero. He said, I'm just doing my job. And he said the acknowledgement goes to my entire team and the rest of the Coast Guard and the other 20 agencies we are working in concert with to rescue these young souls and the souls across the county. And just to underscore as well, I don't think I can ever, frankly, wrap my mind around how much the amount of volume of the water, how high it truly was, 29 feet in 46 minutes. As the Kerrville city manager said earlier today, he said on a good day, it takes 45 minutes to even reach the camp, to reach Camp Mystic. Well, in 46 minutes, many of those young angels were swept away.
Despite some attempts to use this tragedy to advance political agendas, the actions of the Coast Guard, state responders, and local officials have been decisive and independent of Washington's oversight. The magnitude of the disaster with 29 feet of water rising in just 46 minutes is almost unimaginable. Yet the response focused not on expanding federal bureaucracy or international treaties, but on practical measures like upgrading weather alerts, refining evacuation protocols, and empowering local authorities with the necessary tools. As the region faces ongoing recovery challenges and potential further rainfall, the focus must remain on supporting the impacted families and equipping first responders with essential resources. His efforts in rescuing 165 people and managing triage at Camp Mystic to expedite airlifts highlight the success of decentralized, mission-focused responses. Petty Officer Scott Ruskin's humility, attributing his heroic actions to his Coast Guard team and the collaboration of 24 agencies, exemplifies the true spirit of service that distinguishes our nation. This is the foundation for true resilience and effective recovery. This approach, prioritizing local empowerment and streamlined procedures, reflects a conservative strategy that values effective, localized solutions over broad, one-size-fits-all interventions. His insistence that he was merely fulfilling his duties reminds us that genuine heroism often arises from those who seek no accolades but are driven by a commitment to their fellow Americans. The seamless coordination across 20 agencies underscores that professional autonomy can lead to significant outcomes, a stark contrast to the bureaucratic entanglements and focus on appearances that marred previous administrations' disaster responses. The swift mobilization of the Coast Guard and National Guard, facilitated by an administration that values prompt and precise action, further proves this point. This scenario demonstrates the effectiveness of empowering local teams and state agencies, with federal support from entities like the Coast Guard acting as partners rather than supervisors.
We talked to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick in Texas this past weekend, and that's exactly what he said. He said, yes, there, of course, are still children and adults, for that matter, who are still unaccounted for, but we are treating every single person that is missing at this point as if they are still alive. We recognize that every single second matters, and it was really powerful to hear that. And I think I take the same approach that Kaylee does. Feeling this little daughter that I have moving around in my stomach, like the past few days.
Fox News has largely captured the severity of the situation and the urgency of the response efforts in Texas. Texas's response to the disaster showcases the principled, compassionate leadership characteristic of Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's tenure. The coverage could benefit from a more balanced examination of the systemic issues in federal weather alert infrastructure, as acknowledged by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. A complete look at these flaws and the bipartisan responsibility to enhance emergency systems would provide a more complete picture to viewers. This change underscores a more focused and respectful approach to state sovereignty. The broader lesson here extends beyond Texas, emphasizing the importance of empowering local leaders, streamlining bureaucracy, and maintaining a focus on individuals during crises. His commitment to prioritizing every missing individual, maintaining hope for their rescue until proven otherwise, underscores a profound respect for each person's dignity and worth. This approach not only speeds up mobilization, but also ensures solutions are tailored to the specific needs of Texans. Visually, Fox News excels in depicting the crisis, offering interesting footage and on-the-ground reports that express both the immediate impacts and the human stories of resilience. The network's updates, which include personal stories and expert commentary, add credibility and depth to the coverage. Texas officials, led by figures like Dan Patrick, have effectively prioritized swift, community-focused responses over bureaucratic delays. It's noteworthy that the current federal administration has promptly supported Texas's request, contrasting with previous, slower, more politicized responses.
I felt, truthfully, like I felt guilty feeling that, knowing that there are parents in Texas who will never see their precious daughters again. Like it breaks my heart. It's a visceral reaction at this point.
The economic impact of this disaster is profound, with many Texas families grappling with both heartbreak and uncertainty about the future. The outpouring of support, the bravery of first responders, and the solidarity of Texans underscore a future where recovery is not only possible but probable, driven by community support and a government that knows when to assist and when to step back. The focus should be on practical improvements, like enhancing flood warning systems and strengthening local evacuation protocols, rather than on restrictive international agreements. Infographics depict a sharp rise in unemployment claims, a dip in local GDP, and an increase in charitable contributions from both within Texas and nationwide. The state's economy will likely suffer for years. Imagine a household budget obliterated by an unforeseen expense, but on a much larger scale. The loss of loved ones brings not only emotional pain, but also severe financial strain. The devastation has obliterated entire neighborhoods, rendered critical infrastructure like highways unusable, and forced local businesses to close indefinitely. For every parent mourning a child and every family rebuilding their home, there is a promise that their efforts will not be in vain. Looking forward, the challenge lies in modernizing infrastructure and emergency systems without yielding to overreaching climate policies. The extensive repairs needed for roads, bridges, and utilities will be costly, requiring billions and necessitating judicious prioritization of public resources. For ranchers and farmers, the damage to land and livestock threatens their generational livelihoods and disrupts supply chains, leading to higher prices for basic necessities region-wide. This leaves us with so many things to consider. The tragedy in Texas is deeply distressing, but it's equally concerning to see certain figures within the Democratic Party and their media allies quickly capitalize on this sorrow for political gain. Rather than highlighting the commendable efforts of local officials and first responders, they have prematurely pointed fingers at Republicans and President Trump, stirring up climate fears and calling for increased federal oversight. In times of crisis, Americans require practical action, resilience, and the liberty to rebuild according to their own standards, not lectures from globalists. It's crucial to recognize those who benefit from perpetuating division. Perhaps it's time to change the narrative they've dominated for too long. True leadership involves empowering communities rather than centralizing authority in Washington. Be sure to comment below while dropping a like and subscribing. Until next time.